Hey everybody, just wanted to do a real quick video on a tool that I just bought. And this is a hydraulic crimping tool. And I really didn't think I would ever need one of these, but for the price, I would say it's probably worth picking one up. So this is the tool. I got it for 30 bucks online. And it's basically like a tiny little bottle jack, or it's basically just like a little tiny press. And it comes with a whole series of dies, which are labeled. I don't really know what they mean. Some of them are way too huge, like you're not going to be crimping something this big in diameter, so you're never really going to use some of these. But these are little bits of metal you can use as shims or whatever. You can modify them. It goes in the parts hoarding stash, if you will, for other projects. Now, the reason I bought this is because I had one of these. Okay, now this, for I don't know, $13, $14, $15, is a spring-loaded kind of little kind of V-shaped groove thing. You put your wire and connection in there, and you pretty much pound on it real hard with a hammer. But the thing is with this, it works really good, by the way, but the thing is you kind of have to have this on concrete, and you pretty much have to hit it with a sledgehammer. So this takes quite a bit of force, and you can't use this when you're working under the hood of a car or in the trunk of a car, or something like that. And so, or you're out in the field. So this here, not only do you get a bunch of dies to do different size crimps, and I'll just give you an example. Here's a jumper cable that I had modified. So it's real simple. You put your crimp in there, and let's see if I can operate this one hand just to give you a demonstration. I don't have any of the crimp connections right now. I'm waiting for them to come in online, and you just slowly start operating that handle, and as you can see, the little hydraulic ram just starts ramming it all together. And so now you've got one-handed operation, and you've got like 10 tons of force. You are not going to get that out of a hand tool. And then you just release the pressure, and it comes right out. So it's definitely not something I'm going to be using every day, but look at it this way. If you've got heavy equipment out there in the field, like a tractor that has multiple batteries, and your battery cables are thick, and you got to be out in the field, this may be really useful. Another thing is, if you're building a lowrider and you're going to be running some very heavy gauge wires, front to back, side to side, underneath the car, whatever, or even for like big stereo systems, or even just like battery relocating. So I'm going to use this for basically battery relocating, and changing out the terminals on the battery. So I might go from a side post battery to a top post battery, or a marine battery. So I got to change the connections on that, and I want to use good, proper, heavy gauge wire. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, just go down the auto parts store and get yourself some pre-made battery cables. And yeah, you can do that if they have the length you need in stock. And what I have ran into when I was working on my lowrider is that I would go to 3 auto parts stores, and then like Tractor Supply, and like all these like farm type, like farm supply type places, to be able to find a pre-made cable that was the proper thickness with the proper lugs already made. So that's a huge amount of time, money, and effort put into screwing around with it. So this was 30 bucks. I figure if I use this thing 3 times, it's paid for itself. I'm a big fan of stuff like this, where you can just unbolt it, cramp down on the cable, and then you're good to go. So I Preferably I use stuff like this, but that's not always an option, especially if you want to kind of like lengthen something, where you want to splice two things together and you want to get a really good crimp on it, and then maybe you want to seal it with shrink wrap or something, you know, a shrink fit tubing or something like that. So just food for thought. I really never thought I'd need one of these, but for those few times you need it, especially like I said, you work on a farm, heavy implements, maybe power equipment out there that's got several starting batteries, or like a dump truck. You know, dump trucks have numerous big batteries that you gotta change out cables, and maybe you want to relocate batteries, whatever. 30 bucks. I think it's definitely worth the $30 to have something like this. Plus it's portable, right? So you may be able to use this while you're under a vehicle or under the hood of a vehicle. And these dies, these are, you know, these are nothing fancy here. I mean, it's just a piece of metal. You could definitely fabricate yourself something out of some flat stock to make this even like a heavy bolt cutter, where you've got two sharp pieces of metal in there, and you can go through and shear off a bolt or a stud or something. So portability and a lot of power. I mean, this, like I said, I think this has like 10 tons of power to it, which your hands don't, obviously. So yeah, food for thought. Just something you might want to consider as a cheap tool that in a pinch, it might really save you. Thanks.